everybody. Now we are in the embassy of Mexico in Egypt. I'm pleased to be with me now, Mr. Jose Octavio, Mexico ambassador in Egypt. Welcome again. First of all, let me talk about the National Day of Mexico, which you are here for this occasion now.
Yeah, well, we in September, particularly in September 16, we celebrate the National Day of Mexico, 208 years of independence, living like a free country in the international arena. And this is why this month we organize many activities in partnership with the Egyptian friends.
Yeah. Now, if we talk about the bilateral relations between Mexico and Egypt, I know that maybe since 1958, March exactly, the diplomatic relations between Egypt and Mexico were established in this time. I know that. From this time, from 1958 till now, 2018, what the evaluation of the diplomatic relations between Egypt and Mexico?
Well, currently the relationship is dynamic and productive. If you see, the bilateral agenda is multi-thematic. Traditionally, culture and cultural activities have been the main pillar of this relationship. But during the last years, the economic dimension and the economic interaction has been growing.
Yeah.
Among others, because of the structural reforms of the Egyptian economy. So Egypt is seen by several Mexican global companies as an interesting hub, connecting to Europe, Middle East and Africa, but also Mexico plays a similar role in Latin America, North America and Southeast, and it's attractive for the Egyptian companies. So this is the current situation of the bilateral agenda, it is intense and dynamic.
Yes, I know that maybe in 2017 the total trade between Egypt and Mexico maybe total $123.4 million as for exports and imports for trade between Egypt and Mexico. Do you think it is enough value of trade between Egypt and Mexico, or Mexico is putting in her agenda for the future that to extend this trade more between Egypt and Mexico?
This trade is quite modest, and it doesn't reflect the size and the potential of both economies interacting together, interacting each other. And this is a pending challenge in the bilateral relationship. But what is growing in a very interesting way is the investment, mutual investment. This is the first time that we have in our bilateral history Egyptian companies investing in Mexico and Mexican companies present in Egypt. And this is why last May we launched the Mexico-Egypt Business Council, because we have players at both sides promoting shared prosperity.
What about the most, maybe for imports and exports from the most articles imported and exported from Egypt to Mexico? What's going on?
What do you mean, products? Or?
Yeah.
Well, the different kind. We export a lot of Egyptian raw materials, and Mexico is sending parts for cars, automotive parts and this kind of things, and screen flats for televisions. So it's diversified, but again, the trade is interesting, but this is a pending challenge in our bilateral agenda. I would like to focus or to highlight more another phase of the economic interaction, and that means mutual investment.
Yes. Regarding the culture, or la cultura in Espanol, I know that in 1996 the Egyptian-Mexico Association for Egyptology is established. Since this time, from 1996, what the evaluation of the cultural cooperation between Egypt and Mexico?
Well, considering that Egypt and Mexico share a very interesting historical asset, we have a huge avenue of collaboration in front of us, always with a lot of potential. It's a never-ending avenue of collaboration, fortunately, and it's very active. And every year we have Mexican cultural expressions dealing with historical issues, or on the contrary, Egyptians in Mexico. As a matter of fact, in this October is coming a Mexican archaeology delegation, that is a Mexican archaeology team that has been working during the last 2 years in a tomb in the King Valley, in the Valley of the Kings.
Yes.
So we will have the opportunity to see again in another season of work what they are working and what they are doing in this tomb in Luxor. So this is a clear proof that we have an intense collaboration and interaction in such area of Mexican Egypt.
Yes. If you want to tell the Egyptians here about Mexico, I want to introduce a picture for living, the style of living in Mexico for the Egyptians here. I want everybody in Egypt to know how the Mexican live in Mexico. From waking up in the morning, what they do in their day, in the style of life. You know what I mean? The style of life in Mexican.
And it's pretty similar to the Egyptian way of life.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we share a lot of commonalities, a lot of similarities. But we start the day as everybody, paving the way for a normal day work, maybe with taking a shower, and later on both fathers helping their kids in order to be ready to arrive in time to school, and having breakfast, and later on to challenge the traffic. The traffic is quite similar to Cairo,
yes.
And this is a possible area of collaboration, by the way, because we have many cars in a relatively small geographical area.
Yeah.
So challenges are real. Traffic is a real challenge in Mexico City. It is a mega city with 20 million living in the capital and metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
Later on, everybody starts working. And the rest of the day is it's like in Cairo, very active, very demanding. And in the weekends also is similar to Cairo, because Mexicans love soccer.
Yeah.
So they used to spend some time with family watching soccer games.
Actually, my next question was about the sport, and I know the soccer house, Mexican love soccer like Egyptian. So I want to tell all Egyptians about the sport and soccer in Mexico, which is the first team, which is the most popular player. I wanted all Egyptians to know more about soccer in Mexico, if it is possible.
But of course, well, we have a professional league, and in addition to that, everybody loves soccer. So since you are a kid, everybody's playing, even in the streets, and later on in formal field camps. But we have a very well-organized professional league, and Guadalajara, it's a long name, is probably the most popular team, because in this team, Guadalajara, it's composed only by Mexican players, and the rest of them have a lot of foreigners. So this is why Guadalajara, and its nickname is La Chivas, they are very famous in Mexico, probably the most famous team. But in front of this team, the most relevant rival and the most popular as well is America. America that used to have a lot of money. So you have the popular team, Guadalajara, composed by Mexicans, versus the most cosmopolitan, if you allow me the expression, that is America, and this is the most relevant game during the season. But we share the same interest for soccer like the Egyptians.
Yes.
Here in Egypt, I have noticed that soccer is extremely popular.
Yeah.
And now with the Mexican coach training the Pharaohs,
Yes.
I'm sure that we will have the skills to talk more about football, soccer in our bilateral agenda.
Yeah, it is a symbol for cooperation in sport.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Maybe we need another saline in Mexican league.
Okay. Now, if we talk about tourism in Mexico, what are the most sightseeing in Mexico when tourist come to Mexico, what is planned in your opinion? What do you advise him to visit to see in Mexico?
Well, depend on your interest, your own interest. If you want the beach, no doubt that Cancun and the Yucatan Peninsula is one of the best options, or in the other part, in the northern part of Mexico, in Baja, you have this option. But if you like cultural activities, you have these options in Chiapas and also in Yucatan because of the Mayan ruins. And in the central part of Mexico, you have the Teotihuacan with very interesting pyramids, quite different to the Egyptian pyramids, by the way. But you have these opportunities. And if you want to see colonial heritage and architecture, Puebla, Guanajuato, in the central part of Mexico also offers this kind of opportunity to you. So we have many options to see in Mexico, as it is the case of Egypt as well.
Yes, of course. Let me go more close to Mexican, and I want to enter the, if you allow to me, to the Mexican kitchen. What is the popular food, the popular drink in Mexico? You know?
Well, our national drink is tequila.
Yeah.
Tequila is made of agave, and this is a Mexican icon, and this is why it's quite popular. You must be careful with the tequila, by the way,
yes.
and only try good tequila, authentic tequila. This
yes,
is
more than one kind of tequila.
I'm not an expert on tequila, but I can tell you that we have 3 kinds of tequila:
yeah.
white, old, and extra old.
Yeah.
And there is a protocol in order to drink it and enjoy at the same time this drink. It's not a question of taking several shots,
yeah.
because you immediately get drunk.
Yeah.
And this is not the idea. The idea is to enjoy this kind of beverage and this liquor and this drink that is really nice. So tequila, no doubt that is the most popular drink. Mezcal, that is similar to tequila in some way, is growing in its popularity. But tequila, talking about the Mexicans, is the most popular. And talking about cuisine, you have many options because Mexico is big, and as a big country you have different regions.
Yeah.
So we can talk about regional Mexican cuisines. So you have in the central part of Mexico, the western part of Mexico, in Jalisco, Guadalajara,
Yeah.
You have a specific kind of cuisine, and in the central part of my country are different. For instance, mole is a very interesting sauce made of chocolate and picante and hot pepper.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting balance
Sure.
between both, and it's iconic in the Mexican cuisine. But we have, fortunately, extraordinary expressions of the culinary art in Mexico.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to talk about well cuisine in Mexico, again, because we have regional cuisines. And there are some Mexican restaurants in Cairo, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, I know that. So, now let us go to the situation of Mexico in some cases, maybe international or national cases. For example, terrorism. What do you say about terrorism, which is now all over the world, many countries suffering from the terrorism anyway?
Of course, it's a global problem. It's not only a question of interest of one country. It is in the international agenda, and we as Egypt, we promote international coordination. We think that the best way to fight and to face this problem is playing together in coordination in the international arena, coordinating our efforts in order to deal with this kind of challenges. And also, and this is another area where we share perspectives with Egypt, is attacking or attending the roots of the problem, fighting poverty, reducing poverty, promoting economic progress among younger generations, and these kind of things. So we, in synthesis, in briefing. What we need is international coordination and a multidimensional strategy in order to deal with this problem.
Yeah. And now what about the situation towards the Palestinian case and the situation in Palestine, the situation between Palestine and Israel and the state of Palestine? What's your opinion about this?
I mean, Mexico have an historical position, and considering the rights of both people, both countries to exist, to live in peace. So the official position of Mexico is connected with the principle of two states. And two states deserve to live in safe borders and safe territories. And this is the position of Mexico, and connected with the international law and with the United Nations resolutions.
Yes. Now, finally, during your stay here in Egypt, what the most thing you love to hear in Egypt?
This is a difficult question because I love a lot of things.
Okay,
so,
let us know.
Kosher is one of them, and desserts it's another one, but this is a problem sometimes.
Yes.
I like
in all fields. I mean, you mentioned for the food, in the food, in the art, in the songs, in the politics, in monuments, in everything.
Cultural life in Egypt, and Cairo in particular, is intense and very interesting. Sometimes the problem you allow the expression is that you have several options the same evening. So sometimes the problem is to choose which is the better option in order to get fun. But this country, and Cairo in particular, promotes a lot cultural activities. And no doubt that Cairo is the cultural capital of the Arab world. So this is why you have these options. Not only one kind of cultural expressions, but several local, I mean Egyptian cultural expressions, Arab contributions, but even of the Western world. So you have different kind of activities to do during the weekends and even during the whole week in this capital. And this is something that I really love, and that my wife and I really enjoy in Egypt.
Yes. Finally, sir, would you give a word for Egyptians here? What do you say for Egyptian people?
Well, that we are committed with the idea of continuing promoting the bilateral agenda in order to promote progress and share prosperity. And this is why we are very happy with the arrival of Egyptian companies to Mexico and the arrival of Mexican global companies to Egypt.
Mr. President, Mexico Ambassador in Egypt, thank you very much for being us in Egypt.
On the contrary, I really appreciate the opportunity to say hello to your big audience.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
You are improving your Spanish.
Yes.